Welcome to Experts Unleashed, a podcast that aims to uncover how professionals and entrepreneurs transform their experience into income while making a positive impact in the world. I'm your host, Joel Irway, and over the past 4 years, I've helped entrepreneurs develop and launch their expert-based businesses to grow past 6 and 7 figures per year. Now, a professional expert serves their community through paid training, education, or service, and this podcast will show you how to design and execute your plan to become a 6 or 7 figure expert without a big team. So, let's get started. What's going on, experts? Joel Irway here with another episode of Experts Unleashed, and we have a very special interview episode for you today. I just hopped off my interview with Merel Kriegsman, who's a high-end copywriter to influencers, visionaries, and best-selling authors, making them virtually beyond compare with high-converting copy and messaging that gives total strangers full-body chills. Merel lives on a farm in Canada, so everything she does comes wrapped in a quote-unquote fresh perspective and with an undeniable cool factor. Merel and I had an amazing conversation. So she lives out near Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, which is north of Montana, which I actually visited quite a few years ago in my previous life. And so I love talking with other copywriters. As you know, I'm a current copywriter. We write high converting sales webinars. And so it's always great to talk to other copywriters and express how they were able to develop their journey. Now, you are going to love Merel's interview because she talks about some very interesting circumstances that led her down this journey to discovering her passion for copywriting. And what's fascinating about this is that she didn't have to rely on any paid advertising to land clients that are worth up to $25,000. So without further ado, let's jump into Merel's interview and learn how she was able to do this while living in a very, very remote location out in northern Canada. Merel, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Joel. Pleasure to be here.
You know, we were talking before we hopped on our interview, and you're based in Canada, just outside of Saskatoon. And I had told you that I had visited Saskatoon way back in the day in my previous life. What's fascinating about what you do is, you are able to kind of work out in, Saskatoon, which is kind of out in the middle of, middle of Canada. And you live out on a farm, it's a family farm, right?
Yeah, so it's basically the farmyard itself is 10 acres. And we have a house here. We have a little museum house, like an old homestead. It's like antiques in it, which is so much fun. We have like an old silo, an old cow barn that's empty, a bunch of granaries, big corn sets, like the works. We have like tractors and stuff. So yeah, it's like the real deal. Right now there's no animals. So we're going to buy some pigs and some sheep in the next couple of weeks and have our veg patch lifestyle and a little bit of livestock, and it's the perfect thing for our young family right now.
Awesome. So why don't you tell our listeners, a little bit about what you do and what you do for clients?
Yeah. So I am a copywriter. I'm a conversion copywriter. So I really focus on getting that sale, getting the sign up, actually getting the traction in somebody's business. And I work with influencers, best-selling authors, and then in my group programs, I work with people, with women mostly, that are very interested in learning to sell high-end, because I'm very good at that. And and I write sales pages, websites. I don't do ads because I believe that should be handed to the ads experts. So I basically focus on a couple of things as a copywriter that I do very well, and I help my clients have 6-figure launches, do very well in their business, and have copy be a real game changer for them. Like, that's my big goal.
So for those who are listening right now, like, copywriting is an extremely, extremely valuable skill set that anybody who's got their own business, you need to learn how to communicate your message and inspire your audience to take action. So whether that's opting in for an email sign
Yeah.
up or making a purchase, the whole 9 yards, your ability to communicate that message through the web, through emails, whatever it is extremely valuable. And I believe everybody should be studying copywriting. How did
Yeah.
you get to be who you are today? Like, did you, when you first started out in launching your own business, did you say, hey, I see this world of copywriting. I see how valuable it is. I mean, tell us a little bit more about the origin.
Yeah. So first of all, when you say like copywriting is a really valuable skill, like I am also like deep into like sales. So I personally believe, and I just want to like have people hear this, like I personally believe that unless you can sell it on the phone or like in a conversation, you should not attempt to like try and sell it in an email or a sales page, because I see so many people fail like trying to like skip that step and kind of like hide behind their funnels because they think, oh, this is awesome, I don't have to do that like live selling elements anymore. And of course you still do, like, you know this, right? Like on the webinar, like everything, all the language you use in your emails, sales pages, it needs to come from like a place of experiencing what it's like to actually sell to somebody face to face. I believe. So just as that is a side note. But yeah, when I started out as a concert soprano in Europe. Like I had a really successful career. I won a competition in Vatican City. Like you can literally like YouTube me, but I was making like no money. Like I was like, oh my gosh. So I just won a competition in Vatican City. I was literally like aired to like millions of people on Vatican TV, or not Marie TV, but Maria TV. And I was like, and I'm still not making money. Like, what's wrong with this picture? So I got very frustrated, and I was like, okay, I adore art. Like, I love this, but like the whole like living on a shoestring budget, being not able to do anything. We were literally like living in the middle of Europe. Prague was 2 hours away. We did not have the money to go in 7 years. Like I was like wearing my younger sister's hand-me-downs. It was just like, no way, man. Like, this is not how I want to live. So then I decided in 2014 to do Marie Forleo's B School, which was the best move ever for me at that time, and huge stretch financially. So I literally like cleaned toilets and babysat my way through like being able to pay that. And then it took me about a year, Joe, simply of like wandering around, not knowing what I wanted to do. And I think that's where a lot of people get stopped. And I remember like literally like I was pregnant at that time with our first daughter. I was riding home on my bike from like one of my cleaning jobs. And suddenly like I felt it again. I felt, no, I want to do this. I want to make this work. So I had that like knowledge from B School. I kind of knew like what I needed to do in order to start a business. And then when the real like pivotal moment for me was actually like having my first daughter, like my first kid. I gave birth at home. My husband accidentally delivered our daughter. So it was just like this like huge moment of, oh my God, like if I can do this, then damn it, I can start a business. Like that's peanuts after that, right? So I just like, I don't know. It's like almost hard to grasp what really called me to be a copywriter. I think as I was going through that process of starting a business and also seeing my mother start a business and seeing both of us kind of really have words and being able to put into words what it is that we were doing, you know, having that be a real bottleneck, I realized like, hey, this is the one thing. If I learn how to do this, that was like the first thing. If I learn how to do this, like the world is my oyster. And then as I was like writing my first website, I realized like, hey, I'm actually really good at this. You know, I've always kind of
talking about copy, right?
Yeah, I'm talking about like putting things into words, right? Like putting it into concepts, using words that people recognize themselves in, kind of like those core pillars of what good copywriting consists of. And then it was just like it started growing from there. So I realized like in conversations too, because we were doing Airbnb at that time because we were so poor. So we like literally rented out one of our rooms in our tiny apartment to make money. And so I had lots of like conversations with strangers, and they always ask me, so what do you do? So I really got to like hone that skill. And at one point I realized like, hey, when they say what they do, I actually I'm really good at helping them say it better. And they would just say like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, that's what I do. Like, oh, I struggle with that for like years. Like, how did you do that? So it's kind of like that basic skill of being able to listen and then give back in a way that makes like that's super clear, that makes total sense, that is enrolling. That got me thinking like, hey, I might actually do this as a full-time thing. So then I just started offering my services for free to a couple of people to gain some traction, get some testimonials. And then a really special moment for me was when I do a lot of like visualizing, like Joe Dispenza meditations and stuff. And so I had visualized that I would have my first paying client by like January 1st. And on the evening of the day before, so New Year's Eve, 2015, I landed my first paying client.
That's amazing. So
yeah.
I want to go back to when you said you made the decision to enroll in B School. So if you're listening right now, it's Maria Forleo's B School, which is, what does that stand for? Business school. You went through the entire program and you said it was a huge stretch for you financially.
Yeah.
What I want to get clear is, so you completed it, but you still didn't really know what you wanted to do, right?
That's right. Yeah.
What were some of your ideas? Like before you kind of just stumbled on your skill of copywriting?
Yeah. So I actually didn't complete the program. Like that would be lying. Unlike other people, I'm immortal. I don't complete courses,
Yeah.
But I went through the first couple of modules with the idea that I would start this business around helping artists become profitable and basically do better than I did financially, and give them that like education around marketing and marketing yourself and branding yourself and stuff like that. Having lots of like, I love mindset. So I thought, oh, I'm just going to go in and teach them mindset, and they're going to like be really successful. But as it turned out, they weren't really interested in that. They were way more interested in just being focused on their next audition and kind of like, frankly, kind of staying in their struggle. Like I had a lot of conversations where it was just like, no, I'm not really interested in mindset. Like I just want to, get hired full time in a German opera house, and that's the holy grail, and I'm not going to focus on anything else. So yeah, so I let that one go.
Mindset's almost impossible to sell to people who don't know you. Like it's, mindset is one of those things where I feel like I've had this. It's so funny. Your story right now is so similar to a handful of other people that I've already talked to. Like personal development coaches and life coaches and high performance coaches, like they really want to teach mindset, and they all go after it, and they all say whatever their angle is, they talk about being mindset coaches, and like they all fail or seriously struggle. And it's because I'm a huge believer in it too, but like you can't sell mindset, especially, because nobody wants it. Like they need it, but they don't want
nobody. Exactly.
Selling somebody what they want and then giving them what they need. So you can teach
exactly.
Lead with it.
Exactly. And I still, at my core, I'm a coach, and I would like mindset coach is like right up there. Like I teach people like high performance mindset strategies. Like for example, just like the concept of like sales and how you show up in your sales and your copy. There's like such a like huge mindset element to that. So I still like, but what I sell isn't obviously copy. That's how I get in with people. That has worked really well for me. And right now, I'm actually in my group program that I recently started. I do teach a lot of like the mindset stuff, but it's more like how I got them in is by saying, okay, I went from making $3,000 a month last year to, $30K and more this year. And mindset was a huge part of that. Do you want to know how I did it? And then everybody's like, yes, that's how I sell mindset these days.
Yeah.
So, that's how they are willing to take that from me.
So you went through B School. You didn't complete it. right? So love your honesty there. Didn't complete it, but you still had this passion that you still had eventually when you said you were pregnant. You still had this desire to kind of do something on your
Yeah.
own. When did you start to practice this skill of copywriting? Like, I'm trying to figure out when copywriting came to the forefront of your mind as something that you were pretty good at, and you might even be able to offer it as a service.
Yeah, as I said, it was kind of like in that like Airbnb period where I just saw like one person after the other every day coming into our house. And you just have like those conversations, like, what do you do? Why is it awesome? And just seeing people struggle with that so much, and then being able to like instantly give them like that like clarity around their messaging, that really thrilled them and made them very confident walking out of our house, to like basically being able to do better business. I think getting that feedback was enormous for me.
So these people who were staying as guests, were they entrepreneurs? I mean, how are you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think a lot of them are actually, because it's kind of that audience. They're not like, they wouldn't necessarily stay in hotels. They just like, they like to go off the Toronto path, so to speak. And so we had a lot of entrepreneurs, and it's just kind of like happened by accident that I had all those conversations, and I realized like, hey, this skill that I have of like helping people formulate what it is that they do and get super clear on that is actually something that other people struggle with a lot. Like I wasn't clear on that before. So as soon as I got that, I just started like offering some people my services for free, like within the B-School community. And that's when I did my first, website project, and I helped an artist like with some short official bio. I still love doing short official bios. I have a freebie around that too. And it's just, I think, Joe, when you like, I tried a lot of things. Like I tried that like artist business, and oh my God, like I even tried like selling handmade, hand stitched hand warmers. Like I was just like trying everything. Right. And, but when you get like that kind of like feedback where you notice, hey, everybody is really kind of amazed at like your ability of like being able to do something, I think that you should take as a clear sign of like, hey, I'm on the right path. And then especially when people are willing to pay you for that, that's like your second sign that you're on the right path.
Mm-hmm. It's like people vote with their credit cards. It's one of the models that I live by. It's like you can have all the great ideas in the world, but until somebody swipes their credit card or hands you over cash, it's not validated.
Exactly. And this is such an important thing because, you see all these like, I don't know, I'm just like in my community, there's like a lot of like female entrepreneurs, and they all say, okay, I'm running a beta. Do you want to join? It's free. And I'm like, no, girl. Like if you run a beta and it's free, you still don't know shit because, don't know if somebody's willing to pay you at that level to be in that program.
Yep.
So I always say like, you just have to charge for your beta rounds because otherwise you're still not validated anything.
Right. Yeah. 100%. Give it to them at a discount, but don't give it to them for free because
or even like, don't go crazy on the discount.
Yeah. Like
people will behave very differently in a program that's $200 versus $3,000,
Mm-hmm.
Like if they're willing to pay you $3,000 for it, they're really gonna like, be super involved and want to get the value from you rather than just like kind of hang out in the Facebook group and drop 2 comments over the course of like 4 weeks and say, yeah, sure, that was nice. They don't have any skin in the game, right? So yeah, that's my opinion.
I love it. So I'm going to be honest with you. Like it takes a very high level of intelligence, in my opinion, to be able to associate your skill of, number one, realizing that you have a gift to help people get their message more clearly. And then number two, understanding that translates into copywriting, right? Because just understanding that you can help people get a more clear message, that's awesome. Like, okay, great. But what does that really, what can you really do, you as the expert? What can you really do with that? So you had people coming through on Airbnb and you started to notice a trend. You saw the light bulb moment go off with your roommates or your customers on
My
Airbnb.
happy guests. Yeah. Lucky
So,
bastards.
did you just in your mind were you just like, oh, I can write, if I can help them get clear on their message, I should be a copywriter? I mean, did that just come to you? Like, did that just come naturally to you?
So I think going through B school and like going through that process of writing my own website for me was also like a really important moment of realizing, hey, I just love this. And I as like a non-native speaker, I have also like a very unique view on language. Like I think I perceive it differently. It's like for me, it's really super creative. It's like I look at all words as kind of new, I'm not jaded. So just like that play with language and getting it to like be super, super crisp and like, yes, that's how you need to say it in order to get the sale, like that, going through a process on my own and also realizing like, oh my God, I'm on draft 85. This is not easy, like if I struggle with this, then probably the other people that are not into words like I am are going to have, a harder time. So that was it. That was a really important moment. And then another opportunity was when Marie Forleo and Laura Belgray, they created the Copy Cure program. And I took that and then just loved it because their stuff is awesome. Like people just buy that program. I always endorse it. It's really cool. Great basics. And then a year later, as I was like, I kind of like started my business. I was just kind of like active in a couple of Facebook groups. That's how I got Facebook groups. Is how I got clients. And then they had like a live event that they did connected to the Copy Cure, like a week of like, just let's be in a Facebook group, and you get feedback from Laura, from her portfolio. And I just started dishing out advice as if I were one of the mentors. I was so crass. Like I just went in there, I totally party crashed the Copy Cure. And Marie Forleo and Laura, they just loved it. They thought it was awesome. And then, so last fall, they did it again. It's like a yearly thing that they do. They did another live round of the program, basically. And this time they invited me as like an official mentor to like work alongside, Marie and Laura. So I guess what I'm saying is that, the right programs came on my path at the right moment. And then I've always just been extremely like radical and just putting myself out there and not be afraid that people would think of me as like an unwelcome guest or like, who does she think, she is.
Well, you created your own opportunity
I did.
inside of that group. And for those listening right now, like there are so many ways because you're a high-end copywriter. I mean, I looked on your site and one of the advertised services was $15,000, right? So it's not cheap to hire you.
No.
So people who are just starting out right now, they're like, oh, I can never charge $15,000 for what I do. And it's like, well, this is the process that you go through. To create opportunities for yourself, you have to figure out how do you get associated in the right target market of people who need your services, and how do you provide value up front to market yourself. Oh
my gosh, I did lots of that.
Yeah. And you mentioned something earlier too that I want to highlight is you did a lot of work for free up front or in the beginning to build your credibility and get testimonials, which is so
not long. So I always believe I just adore social proof and like how social proof functions within a business and how important it is. Like really, people get your social proof together. Like it's so important. So I chose very, like I really considered this carefully, who I wanted to work with, who I wanted a testimonial from. And then I really guided them through the process of writing me that testimonial. So I basically kicked off my career with some really awesome social proof. And then in those Facebook groups where I was marketing myself, I mean, now it's like basically referrals, right? Like my business runs on referrals. But before, I basically chose 2 Facebook groups that I was very active in. Bushra Ajur's 60-second persuasion Facebook group, and Marie Forleo's B School, like closed Facebook group. not like 100 Facebook groups, but 2 that I was consistently active in. So I posted a couple of times a week. And whenever somebody needed a copywriter, there would be like 15 comments saying, choose me, pick me. I love working with high-end coaches, stuff like that. And I would come in and I would say, okay, I have, I'm a conversion copywriter. So first of all, I would set myself apart by adding something to that title and giving people, like a glimpse of, hey, this is something different. This is something more deep, more like, more essential, or I say that like, and then I would just drop those testimonials in one of the comments. And that's how people were willing to pay me higher prices, right? Almost right from the get-go. I've consistently upped my prices every like 3 months since I got started. And that's how I went like very quickly to charging higher end fees for a bigger project, which is so essential because then you can deliver much better work and add like a research phase to whatever you're doing, right? Which is so important to get the results.
Even right now, you're I don't want to say you're selling yourself, but I loved what you just said. It's like, oh, I'm raising my fees so I can provide higher quality, so I can add a research phase. Like
exactly.
I loved it.
Right?
I mean, it's like you're justifying why you're charging more. It's like, okay, well, I can charge $3,000 and I can be a farmhouse and just crank out, regurgitated stuff, or I can charge a higher fee. You can get me, on your team, and now I can spend more time. And anyway.
Yeah. And it's like, and I'm still learning this, Joel. Like, for example, I had this offering where people book me for a day, and then it's not really like that research phase is not really there. And I've got burned a few times where I'm then just like, the quality of my work is not quite where I want it to be. And I'm getting more and more like absolutely convinced that I just won't take on projects unless there is at least a full day for me to like look at the surveys, look at like do review mining on Amazon of like competitors with books in the same kind of like industry, or have a couple of really in-depth interviews with people's audience to capture the voice of customer. And then work from there, work with that kind of clarity. Yeah.
I love it. So take me back now to your first client. You don't have to reveal names, but like the first person the first person who paid you for, it was New Year's Eve, right? 2015, right?
Yeah.
So take me through that whole process of how somebody were they a referral? Were they in this Facebook group?
Yeah.
Were they following your posts? Like what's happening?
They were following my posts, and it was like the Dutch B-School kind of smaller group that exists. And somebody asked for copywriter, and these women had seen my posts in the bigger B-School international group, and they just mentioned my name. And that's basically how I got all my work those first, 18 months. Simply people would tag me and I would like jump in like right away because I really wanted the work and respond within a few minutes with some great testimonials. And that was a very special moment. Paid me €300 for a application.
Did you say 8,300?
No, 300 euros.
Oh, 300 euros. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I don't know. God, that would have been impressive. First gig. And I don't know. I guess because I didn't make any money before this. I was just like, every time people pay me more, I'm still like, whoa, like this is amazing. Like I just I sold a 25K website project last month, and it still has me like falling off my chair. The people were willing to pay me like that much money for words on their website. And of course that's bullshit because I offer a lot more. Like I offer a whole strategy and like content and like everything, right? But it still feels incredible that I can make that much money with a skill set that doesn't require anything but like my brain basically, and my imagination and my ability to understand why people feel the way they feel and, say what they need to hear. So yeah, that feels incredible.
Well, it takes time for you, the expert, to even it's a mindset thing, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure when you charge $300, you were probably like, "Oh, I hope they take it. I hope they take it." Like,
Yeah.
probably really excited, right? And now you've crossed the $25,000 threshold, but it's like you have to go through this evolution. I mean, I went through the same thing too. My first gig I did, I did it for free, but I charged a commission. So it was a webinar. So any sales, I just took a back end piece, but I provided it up front, no cost. But you have to go through that whole transition yourself too. You have to get that first sale, then push it up, then keep raising the bar, assuming that you're getting results. That's also a big,
that's huge,
a big piece of it, but I love it.
Yeah. And I mean, a huge piece in this as well is getting mentorship. Like, I just want to mention that because I feel anybody listening who's like figuring these things out, it's like I very early on invested a lot of money in mentorship. So 2016 was my first year. At the end of 2016, I invested in a mastermind that was like 12.5K. So like half of what I'd made that year, to study with at copyhackers.com, which is that's like the hub for like super awesome conversion copywriting. And I just paid a lot of money to get great advice, and that's been totally worth it. So anybody listening, if you're like not sure where to go, what to do next, get a mentor, get somebody who can tell you what next steps to take, what is important, what to focus on.
So, okay, you invest in this $12,500 per year mastermind. I've invested in lots of masterminds, my own, as much as $30,000 for the year.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And I do like masterminds. I went a little mastermind crazy the past 2 years. I mean, I probably invested over 6 figures per year in masterminds.
Yeah.
I toned back this year, but what do you think was the biggest shift that you got in the Copy Hackers mastermind that helped take you to the next level?
Well, it's a great question. So I would say like the first 3 months were like the mini mastermind, and it was just about getting your ducks in a row. For example, like so many freelancers out there, they will send you an invoice in Word that you then need to print out, sign, and scan in and send back to that, said freelancer. Those are all like bottlenecks in your business. So the first thing that we learned was to get all that like tech stuff, that whole like back end of our business organized. Software for signing, software for invoicing, software for like everything. So it was just like a smooth running machine. And this I also like believe is like a really important like energetic bottleneck if you don't have this organized. That keeps money from actually flowing into your business, or you even from putting yourself out there. So getting all of that organized and really, she walked us through like how to do a sales call. Like I've since then invested in a lot of like sales coaching because first of all, like I freaking love it. And like I'm about to spend another 25K on optimizing my sales skills. But she was like the first one to really walk me through, okay, this is how you do it. Like if they don't show up within the first 5 minutes, you cut the connection. You don't get back to them to schedule, even if you're like desperate for the job. You don't do it. Like this is how you position yourself as like a high-end copywriter. This is what you do. This is what you absolutely don't do. Mm-hmm. Right? So there were all like these like kind of like hacks that helped me position myself as high-end really early on. And I remember at one point, so I was like a couple months into the mastermind. Perhaps you've had this experience too, that sometimes there's first like a dip before there is like this spike in results that you were always looking for. So what happened was that in April last year, I upped my prices by a lot. And I lost 90% of my existing clientele because they couldn't afford me anymore. And it was in the month that we But we had to pay the mover. So for the move from Europe to Canada, I had like 17K in expenses, which completely raided my tax, the money I had set aside for taxes. And I made $700 that month. It was so bad, Joel. It was so scary because I was going to be the sole breadwinner, right?
Yeah.
Like in Canada, at least for a while. So that was really scary. But then I just really worked it. I just started making new connections at a much higher level. I followed people up. I sent cold emails, and I got myself into a much higher echelon of entrepreneurs that were able to afford, my new prices really quickly. But it's you got to work it. You can't back down. You can't say, okay, I'm going to charge $3K for a sales page and then say, okay, I'll do it for $1,000. That does not work. That's not how you build,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it was scary.
Yeah.
For sure.
Welcome to the entrepreneurial roller coaster.
Oh my God, right.
Yeah. It's a wild one.
Yeah.
So for anyone who's, considering becoming a solopreneur, offering services, it's a much different ball of wax than somebody who, say, wants to launch a SaaS business or a product-based business, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I come from the world of paid traffic, direct response marketing. So building sales funnels to acquire clients and the whole 9 yards. It doesn't sound like that's how you get clients, right?
No.
So,
it's relationship focused. So I don't know, Joel. I've been thinking about this a lot. I don't know if it's because I'm a woman that this is how I like to do business, really in person and relationship focused. But it just feels very natural to me, and it works. And I am definitely moving into now a stage where I'm okay, now paid traffic might be my next thing. But I also think that when you're just starting out, as you talked about this a little bit, all those people are simply hiding behind their funnel. I've always believed that first you need to master building your business through relationships and really have that face-to-face interaction and feedback, and then really paying attention to what's actually happening in those real conversations, and using that then to create a beautiful paid traffic kind of funnel that's then going to catapult your business to the next level. But I would recommend to at least spend 24 months simply building relationships and getting in touch with your audience and figuring all those pieces out before you create this massive machine. Because I see so many people building that massive machine that have no business building that massive machine just yet, and they fail, right?
There's a lot of truth behind that. And there's lots of ways to build your business organically, and getting clients and freelance gigs. And to be honest, I tried to start with paid traffic, and I still do paid traffic, but there's a lot of pros with just building it organically. And I know for me, the first place that I found my clients was getting in a mastermind. Literally, maybe not necessarily an expensive mastermind, but at least investing in a course where there's a community of people. If you want to go into a raving hot audience, a red hot audience, invest in a course and just be active in that group, right?
Yeah,
and you might not even know what you really want to do, but find a course that you're interested in where there's going to be a community, and just stand out. Be that standout person. So you naturally attract followers. People will inquire about what it is that you do, and just be genuinely helpful to everybody inside of that group.
Yeah. For example, in the B School group, I have posted there now for over 2 to 3 years. I've never pitched anything.
Mm-hmm.
I've never used it as a direct way to draw people into a program or service. And I've been of so much value to Marie, and I think that's also why she decided to have me be a mentor alongside her and Laura. That there was just this tremendous amount of trust, and she just knows my work, and that's you can literally buy course for, even if it's like $1,000, like you still can get into like higher quality group that gives you that opportunity. And then you need to like grasp that opportunity. You need to seize it. You need to be consistent,
Because what you're doing when you're getting in a group of people who paid $1,000, and you know it, in the world of marketing, is you want to talk to buyers, and you know that they're buyers. Like, they're not freebie seekers. They paid a lot of money to be in that same group, and there's a lot of value there. So, I mean, there is money in being active in a group, 100%. I mean, there's no question about it. And I think that's it's an unbelievable strategy to get a quick maybe not quick, but a very, very, very high ROI on your course that you invest in.
Yeah. Oh, totally. And it's like, I literally like timed it. It would take about like 4 to 5 weeks of consistent posting to actually start reaping like a lot of my clients.
Because you have to build your own authority.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what I did, Joel? Like in those beginning years, I would literally learn something about copywriting. Like I'd go to copyhackers.com and I'd read an article, I bought some like courses on Udemy on sales pages, and like anything that would like fascinate me or you have like these moments of like, that's a really awesome point that she's making, or this is really interesting, that's really helpful. I would just like regurgitate that and like put my own sauce on it and like post it in a group. So like the content I was learning, I really like integrated and synthesized because I was like writing about it. And then other people would have that same aha that I, appreciated in that course and that article I read, and feel that, she knows a lot. Like she's an authority in this. And so it's just like I was an authority way before I actually was,
Yeah. I mean, it's all about being one step ahead of your prospect. And that's really all you need to be.
That's all you need to be.
You just need to be one step ahead of them, and you need to be the one to provide the solutions, or be the one to be able to go out, be willing to go find the solutions for them and implement them.
Exactly. Like I still take on projects where I'm like, big name entrepreneur. I of course can't name him, but like really well-known people in the industry who come and knock on my door because they want to work with me. And sometimes what they ask of me feels really daunting. And I'm like, I don't know if I can do that. Like I've never done that before, but I'll just like fake it till I make it. Right. I'll just say, sure. Like this that works. This is what's your credit card number? Let's get started. And then I write to like Kevin Rogers, like he's from Copy Chief or something, or, like help. I need some mentorship, and then he hooks me up with someone, and that's just how it goes. Like say yes to the jobs, get those stretch assignments, and then get the resources and the support that you need to make that a success. And that's how you can like accelerate your path like enormously, for sure. Yeah.
Yep. Jump off the cliff and build the parachute on the way down.
Yeah. Learn to fly while falling. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Merel, we talked about a ton today. I love talking to other copywriters. I mean, I write webinars. My company writes webinars, sales webinars, right? And I love having other conversations with copywriters, because I believe copywriters are some of the most intelligent people on the planet because they have to learn how to think behind the screen and understand the deep reasoning why. And we are all reason why people. That doesn't make any sense, but we always
makes sense to me.
Thank you. Yeah, it's copywriter to copywriter. We get it.
Yeah, exactly.
But we're just curious people, and I've enjoyed our conversation. I mean, we talked about how you literally took a huge risk trying to start your business, investing in how much was B School, by the way, when you first invested?
$2,000. Yeah, or just under or something.
Yeah. So
and
a
I think like
program.
Yeah, I think like right now, like I'm considering a 25K program on sales. Like it feels like the same stretch. Like 25K for me now is what $2,000 was in 2014 for sure.
I have a lot of good referrals for excellent salespeople if you need them. I've worked with a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
so, I bet. Yeah.
So, I mean, if you want an introduction to speak to anyone else who can help you in the sales game, I'd happy to.
For sure. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
So anyway, to recap, you went from 2014, you took a huge stretch, invested into a $2,000 program, never even completed it, right? But when you got pregnant, the itch came back and you figured out a way to make it work.
Then I had another baby.
Yeah. Your husband
Crazy.
accidentally delivered your child.
Yeah. Yeah.
What I love about your story is, and we didn't even talk about this we did talk about it, but like there's something deeper with this where, and you might not even have known this was what was going to happen, but when you were hosting these people in Airbnb and like all these entrepreneurs were coming in, I mean, I'm assuming there was probably some like fire that was still some spark there. It's like, I want to be them. And so your natural curiosity, which was asking them what they do and then helping them get clear. Did any of those, any of your former residents become clients?
Yeah, they almost did. Yeah. And I was like more like offering things for free at that time. So some of them definitely took me up on
Oh,
stuff.
nice.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I was going to say that's low hanging fruit right there. I assume they did take you up on some sort of offer.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that all snowballed. I mean, then you discovered that you had some sort of superpower in being able to help them articulate their message, which is extremely valuable. Jumped into the world of copywriting. You became super active in these paid groups. You became known as the go-to copywriter. Marie Forleo now trusts you. We're very, very similar because I have a very similar path, which is this podcast is not about me, but we have very, very similar.
Interesting. Yeah. Cool.
And now you're spending money like it's going out of style. You're investing $25,000 into all these programs.
I know. But I just like, by the way, like this is also really important for the entrepreneurs that are a little bit like further along. We hired a financial coach, Amber Duggar. She's been amazing. So I was kind of like around like the 20K mark in like the first months of this year. And she figured out a blueprint for our life, right? Like this is how much it would really cost if you did the things we really want to do. Mm-hmm. It's like travel to Europe to see my parents, invest in a 25K mastermind. And now I know exactly what I need to make per month. And I started hitting that goal, right? And now I can actually, yesterday we like ran the numbers together and we could see like, okay, we can either save up for a buffer for the next couple months, add more to a buffer, or we can, invest in a mastermind. The numbers look great. Like, oh my gosh, like that, like level of financial clarity, that is really important too. Like just to give that as like a last tip for people.
No, I support it 100%. We hired a CFO a couple months ago to do the exact same thing. And, map out what we really needed to make in the business. And it was great. So
first I was like, oh, that is so much money. And how am I going to do that? Like within the first month I exceeded it. Yeah. Because I had that clarity, Yeah.
So Merel, where can we connect with you? Where can my listeners, reach out to you and find you?
Well, I am very active on Facebook. Facebook is kind of like my favorite platform. So they can just friend me. Merel Kriegsman is my name. They can like my Facebook page, Merel Kriegsman Copywriting, or you can just like send me an email via my website at like merelkriegsman.com and ask me any questions. Like I'm always super open to just start a conversation, talk about coffee. I love my craft, so always hit me up with a question or anything. Love to connect.
Awesome. Love it, Merel. Well, if you're listening right now, go connect with Merel. She's an amazing, talented, gifted copywriter. Let her know that you heard her episode on Experts Unleashed. And Merel, I've had a blast. Hopefully you've enjoyed this podcast as well. And I appreciate you sharing your journey, being open and transparent about your story. I know it's going to serve the entrepreneurial and the expert community tremendously. So thank you for sharing that. And for everyone else, we will see you on the next episode. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thanks so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed today's episode, and we look forward to giving you the next one. Now, if you want additional trainings and content outside of the podcast, I release exclusive video trainings on my Experts Unleashed YouTube channel. And if you'd like to come hang out with thousands of other fellow experts, join our Facebook group community where we do hangouts and webinars to help support you in your journey. Finally, if you'd like my personal help to develop, launch, or scale your business, contact me directly for private consulting opportunities to see if any spots are available. And you can find all of the information above at expertsunleashed.com.